Watch this.
Six Idahoans are fighting against the state's new bathroom law, saying it's too vague and left them with a risky future. We'll break it down. Funding for ICE and border control could soon be on its way, as Republicans made a move to end the congressional standoff last night. Music can heal. And for one local homeless shelter, the key to that healing came in the form of a piano and a flute. 6 Idahoans are suing the state over its new bathroom law and asking a judge to stop it from taking effect. House Bill 752 will take effect July 1st. It will criminalize a transgender person's use of a restroom, changing room, or a locker room that does not align with their sex assigned at birth. This goes for government-owned buildings and facilities open to the public, like private businesses. The group of people suing the state are all a part of the transgender community. Now, in the lawsuit, they say they struggle to find gender-neutral bathrooms in their daily lives and consider staying home or limiting the amount of liquids they drink while out in public. Under the law, a first offense would carry a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in prison. A second offense within 5 years would be a felony, punishable up to 5 years in prison. There are protections for certain situations, like a coach in a locker room or helping a person into the restroom, or if someone is in dire need of going to the bathroom. The lawsuit alleges that House Bill 752 is unconstitutionally vague, violating the 14th Amendment. Since it doesn't define some of those exceptions, like what dire need means exactly, creating, quote, confusion, increases suspicion and surveillance, and disrupts the status quo without any demonstrated need to do so. The American Civil Liberties Union is representing the group.
The law is not clear in terms of what it means to have a restroom be sex designated, as well as the individual exceptions that are applied and when those might apply to an individual's conduct. Because of this, folks are not able to determine how their conduct will be criminalized when they're going about their daily business.
Lawmakers and supporters of 752 say it's meant to protect women and girls in private areas. Now, we did reach out to the Attorney General's office for a comment. They said, quote, "We look forward to defending the law," end quote.
So we had to do something to break this impasse to get funding to ICE and CBP. There's just no way we can continue on and safely try to protect the homeland and not do something about non-citizens in the country that are breaking the law and creating havoc.
Funding could start flowing to ICE and Border Patrol again soon, and an Idaho congressman says it's critical. House Republicans took a step last night to end the standoff over immigration enforcement funding. It was a procedural vote by the House to help unlock special Senate powers to pass billions of dollars in ICE and Border Patrol funding without votes from Democrats. Now, both Idaho Congressmen Russ Fulcher and Mike Simpson voted for the measure. These reconciliation powers can only be used once both chambers have adopted an identical budget blueprint. The Senate already adopted the blueprint last week, so now the GOP House is pressuring the Senate to move quickly on the ICE funding bill. Democrats were calling shenanigans on these methods, but Fulcher says they were necessary.
It comes down to the bottom line decision. Do you believe that we should allow non-citizens in the country committing crimes to stay here? And I'm not talking about just for entering the country illegally. I'm talking about committing crimes after they have come into the country illegally. And there are those of us, I am certainly included, believe that that is true. We need to do something about that. And the friends on the other side of the aisle say, no, we don't want to do something about that. And so that's the bottom line issue. And it's come to an impasse. So this is a process that we can actually get it done without Democrat support. And it's unfortunate, but that's how important those of us on the Republican side feel that it is.
Now, Fulcher says it might take until the end of May or June before this funding gets done, but the process is already underway. Meanwhile, the funding for the rest of the Department of Homeland Security is headed to the president's desk. This afternoon, the House unanimously approved that money, which will soon end the record-setting 76-day shutdown. Now to the 411. The Cassia County Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly police shooting in Twin Falls. Officers shot and killed someone last night. It all started when Twin Falls police responded to a stabbing victim at St. Luke's Magic Valley around 1 p.m. Now, officers eventually located and tried to arrest the suspect, and that led to a standoff, and police ended up shooting and killing the suspect. Twin Falls police say first responders tried to save the suspect's life, but they weren't successful. No officers or bystanders were hurt, but Cassia County Sheriff's Office is leading that investigation. The Magic Valley Critical Incident Task Force investigation, I should say, into that shooting. City of McCall says it's in a water conservation emergency after a pipe failure. That pipe is at the city water's treatment plant, and it's affected the plant's ability to produce water. The city is asking people in McCall to reduce their water usage immediately. If you live in McCall, they only want you to use water for essential needs like cooking, drinking, or cleaning. All non-essential water usage or irrigation are prohibited. They are working to repair the pipe now. And that clock is ticking for St. Jude Dream Home early bird prizes. Tomorrow is the last day to be eligible for a new Ford truck, courtesy of Idaho Ford Stores. If you miss out on tomorrow's deadline, there is still a bonus bird prize that you were eligible for. New this year, if you buy a ticket before May 15th, you could win a $2,500 Visa gift card. Last check, more than 24,000 tickets have been sold so far. By the way, open houses to tour the Dream Home start this Saturday, May 2nd, and run until May 17th. And that's the 4-in-1. Well, it is the last day to get signatures in for two groups hoping to get their initiatives on the November ballot. Those are for the Idaho Medical Cannabis Act and the Idaho Freedom of Privacy Act. In order to put those issues up for a vote, each petition needs more than 6% of registered voters across Idaho. For Idaho's most populated county, Ada County, that's 18,000 verified signatures.
In our county, we have a team of 8 individuals that are trained and do this on a regular basis. They go through a training provided by the Secretary of State and then an internal training in our office. What happens is they select a line on the petition signature sheet. They work to identify that voter by the information there, such as their address or name, things like that. Once they have identified that voter, they ensure that all the information is accurate, that their registration matches what's on the sheet, that they are registered.
And once a county wraps the verification process, the Secretary of State's office does an additional check on those signatures. And if there are enough, it makes it to the ballot. If those initiatives do end up on the ballot, they require a simple majority to pass. And by the way, early voting is already underway in several Idaho counties, including Canyon, Blaine, Washington, and Twin Falls. Ada County will kick off its early voting this Monday. Throughout the low and the high notes of life, a donation to a local homeless shelter is showing how music can heal. In the meantime, how about this number? A phone number, that is. Give us a text, 208-321-5614, and stay tuned for viewer comments. with just one piano, but inside Interfaith Sanctuary, it's turned into something much bigger. And that something bigger is helping residents reconnect, heal, and find community through music. Here's Abby Wilt with the story.
Echoing through the halls of Interfaith Sanctuary is the sound of music.
Carried me through thick and thin.
It all started with one donation, the piano.
After the piano came, it was wonderful, because I remember Jody told me, I was like, I got so excited, you know, because I love it.
Everett, who can't hear, immediately hopped on the keys, playing through touch.
And I always hope that it sounds as good inside my head. It's a good release too. So because this is what I'm feeling inside, and sometimes feelings don't have words, but there's always music to describe what you're feeling.
In other words, yeah.
And Donnie, who's at Interfaith recovering from a knee replacement, stepped up to return to what he loves, which is performing for others.
I was lucky to be able to do that. I was able to, you know, take the music everywhere.
Kiss me.
I've been able to recover quite, well, it's coming along. I've only 1 week in, but so that's going to be nice to have. I'll be able to walk up on stage now.
But one piano just wasn't enough.
When the piano got here, it inspired Elliot. Like, Elliot wanted to attach back to the flute because the flute was really something that they connected to.
So another donor heard the ask and gave the shelter a flute.
It was really exciting because I haven't played for 10 years, and it was really amazing to actually have a flute again. I didn't really expect it to be able to play at all. So it's amazing to be able to play again.
And their stories are striking a chord with everyone who hears.
Well, while you guys have been here interviewing me, another doctor, his wife came and dropped off a trumpet, a flute, and a clarinet to add to our musical ensemble.
Because it's more than just music.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
They say the instruments help heal. And what they're really creating is connection.
I want to thank the donor who gave me the flute because this is the most amazing gift.
It has changed my life and others as well.
There we go.
Well, these musicians that you just heard from are looking for some sheet music. So if you have any laying around to donate, you can bring it to Interfaith Sanctuary, and they would definitely be happy about that. Hunter, just being in the room while they were playing and people were gathering, watching them, it's really special to see.
Honestly, I feel like it's something we don't see very often nowadays, and I love it. It gave me that craving to do the same, right? So you're telling me as you're sitting there, more people brought in more instruments then?
3 more instruments came in right as we were sitting there, and I see them coming, I see the boxes, I'm like, no way.
At the same time. I think that's really cool. I think if there was any instrument that you would want to see there, what would it be?
I think they need some drums.
Yeah.
I think that they would really benefit from some drums.
Yeah, maybe a guitar too. Yeah.
Oh,
whole
a guitar
band
would be actually pretty good too.
We should do a band.
Hey, I'm sure they'll learn anything we give them.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
go donate.
All right, Abby, thank you. Well, most farms in Idaho follow the seasons, planting in the spring, harvesting in the fall. But what if the growing season never ended? Well, it's not a new concept, but it is new to Boise, and there is an operation using fish, water, and plants.
The idea of combining fish and plants is not new, but trying to do that at scale and manage that water chemistry in a stable and a repeatable way every single day of the year and every minute of every day is an enormous challenge. And so, yeah, I mean, this water is inside there is the key to Greenscale, is managing what's in that water. It's an art and a science. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
It's called aquaponics. The fish help feed the plants and the plants help clean the water. It's a system that runs every single day of the year. They don't use any dirt and it saves water as it gets recycled. All of it is carefully controlled. And if you see a glow at night, it's all part of the science that goes into indoor farming.
And we've got augmented lighting as well. So if, in particular, if you're driving down Federal Way in December, you'll see sort of at 5 p.m. at night, you'll see sort of a pink slash, yeah, kind of a pinkish glow coming from these buildings, because, you know, we've got to deliver basically, 14 to 16 hours of light a day to these plants to help them grow.
And honestly, not a bad place to spend December, if you ask me. Some light, it stays about 80 degrees all year long. That kind of place. All right, well, coming up tonight at 6 for our Inside Ag, you can see how these plants go from seed to harvest and how this Boise operation is trying to scale it up. Well, after a year out of commission, a major boost for Idaho farmers is back. The USDA fully reinstated the U of I's largest grant ever, a 5-year, $59 million initiative, and it's for innovative agriculture and marketing partnership. More than 200 farmers from 34 counties had applied before the program was terminated in April 2025 under new federal rules. Now, the project helps producers with research to improve soil health, cut greenhouse gas emissions, and aid farmers in marketing sustainable crops. Now, UI's team says they will reconnect with those growers first, streamline signups, and work to get producers under contract.
It is the last day of April. We are flying through the months and it feels like we're flying through the seasons as well. If you haven't heard, it's going to be a very warm weekend ahead of us. Boise and the Treasure Valley will be in the low 80s. Now I have a look here at a monthly temperature outlook put out by NOAA today, and it's issued for an estimation for the entire month of May. And so as we can see here, this is showing that the Northwest will largely be expecting temperatures above average. Idaho is part of the area that is the darkest in the Northwest. That's not to say we're going to see extreme heat, but it shows that we will be seeing temperatures above average. We're about 60 to 80% likely to see temperatures above average. We're already expecting the 80s for the first weekend of May. Similar pattern goes for the precipitation for May as well. It does seem like we could trend a little bit drier, although the dryness doesn't seem as significant as the warmth that we're expecting. Currently 69 degrees in Boise right now. We have surpassed our average for this time of year. Partially cloudy skies, but light winds, a very pleasant afternoon and evening ahead of us. A lot of spots in the Treasure Valley did hit the 70s today. Ontario, Caldwell, and Nampa still in the low 70s right now. Mountain Home has dropped a few degrees. Magic Valley in the mid 60s. Haley in the 50s. Stanley as well. But McCall, West Central Mountains hit the low 60s today. So a little bit warmer than normal. normal around the region. Of course, we have been expecting this. That gradual warm up has pushed on through this week, and it will just keep climbing as high pressure continues to build in from the west. It spins clockwise, and as it moves overhead, it will direct in some southwesterly flow. That is typically warmer air coming from the south as well. So we will expect that. If you notice, we have a few lingering green spots here in southern Idaho. That's kind of that last gasp of unsettled weather from earlier this week that's still hanging on. Today should be the last day, though, that we see any chance of light showers or scattered thunderstorms. If we do see a stray storm or two this afternoon, it would most likely be by the Nevada border. So majority of the population in southern Idaho not going to be too impacted by that last gasp of unsettled weather. Tomorrow, the temperatures inch up again as we expect Burley through Gooding in the Magic Valley, expecting mid-70s for the most part. Twin Falls may stay in the upper 60s, still warmer than average for this time of year for the start of May tomorrow. Moving north to the Central Mountains, we'll see the upper 60s in a couple spots like Haley, Fairfield expecting 67. There should be plenty of sunshine to go around. West Central Mountains, some of those lower elevations will even reach the low to mid 70s tomorrow afternoon, like Garden Valley, Council, Riggins expecting 75 degrees on Friday. What a fantastic summer-like spring Friday and weekend that we're expecting ahead of us. Upper 70s for the lower Treasure Valley, Ontario, Caldwell looking at 78 for that high tomorrow. Boise expecting 76 tomorrow afternoon. That's just the start of the very warm weekend. On Saturday is when Boise is expecting to hit the 80s. It could be a little breezy. Make note of that if you happen to be going to the AC Boise home game on Saturday, but look ahead to next week. Those 80s stick around. All right, just before 5:30, so let's get a look at some traffic outside. We're looking at traffic flow. I-84 westbound is backed up from Flying Y through Nampa, where the lower end of the Treasure Valley, that traffic clears up a little bit. So only moving at about 50% speed, 25 to 30 miles per hour there. Highway 2026 Chinden Boulevard seems to be clearing up. It was a little bit more backed up earlier this afternoon. Highway 44 closer to Star seems pretty good for the time being as well. Here's a look at I-84 near Laster Lane in Caldwell. Not too bad for the time being. I think the traffic is clearing out at this point. Still going to take you about 30 minutes or so from Boise to Caldwell in the lower Treasure Valley.
All right, let's take a look at some of your comments. We have Mike who says, as a local musician who has played at the Curtis Tigers Christmas Extravaganza, God, that was a tough word for me, to benefit Interfaith Sanctuary many times, it's really cool to see it come full circle with the music instruments being donated. Mike and 2A. I agree, and it's really cool to watch that story Abby put together about it. It's awesome. All right, we have a similar comment, actually, that is coming into play, too. It's great to see that after all the hoops that Jody Steiger had to jump through to get this place going, that just like we all thought, it's going to be an amazing place to help those in need. Thank you, Jody. And hey, maybe your husband, there it is, will come and play a little tune, too. I learned something new today. I didn't know all about this. We should all go. See you later.